Tonight, friends, I have a story stranger than any dusty frontier legend. Imagine a billionaire cowboy ignored by love yet unexpectedly respected by a maid. Sounds impossible out here in the rough, lonely heart of the Wild West. But sometimes, the quietest people notice truths the richest men completely miss. So settle in, partner, because this tale twists harder than a desert dust storm. You might think money buys loyalty, affection, respect, and maybe even true love. But out here beyond the city lights, gold cannot purchase genuine human understanding. This is the strange story of a powerful man nobody truly cared about, except one humble woman who cleaned his floors and quietly watched everything. And by the end, you might question what respect and love truly mean. Out on the wide plains stood a massive ranch owned by a man named Daniel Crawford. Daniel wasn't just rich, he was the richest cattle baron for miles around. His mansion rose above the dusty valley like a palace dropped into wilderness. People tipped their hats when he rode through town with polished boots shining proudly. But behind the grand gates, something in Daniel's life was painfully empty. He had wealth, horses, land, and power that most men could only dream about. Yet every night his enormous dining table sat filled with silence instead of laughter. No wife sat beside him, and no family stories warmed the cold wooden walls. Friends visited when business was good, disappearing whenever Daniel stopped offering opportunities. Even love seemed to ride past his door without slowing down. Daniel once believed money could win any heart if he offered enough comfort. He bought gifts, jewelry, expensive dresses, and even built a ballroom in town. Women admired his charm in public yet never stayed when emotions mattered most. Some wanted his fortune, others feared his cold reputation as a ruthless businessman. Over time, Daniel stopped trusting smiles because many of them hid selfish intentions. The ranch grew larger while his personal world quietly shrank into lonely routines. Every morning servants cleaned halls echoing with footsteps that never belonged to family. Every evening he stared across endless land wondering why happiness never arrived there. The richest man in 3 counties lived like a stranger inside his own life. And nobody truly noticed the sadness hidden beneath his confident cowboy swagger. Among the ranch workers was a quiet maid named Maria Alvarez. She arrived months earlier from a small bordered town seeking simple, honest work. Maria spoke little, moved gently through rooms, and never stared at luxury things. Unlike others, she never acted impressed by Daniel's expensive horses or polished rifles. Her focus stayed on work, respect, and small moments people usually ignored. She noticed when Daniel skipped meals or sat alone longer than necessary. While others feared the boss, Maria simply treated him like any ordinary man. That small difference quietly puzzled Daniel more than any bold conversation could. Respect without greed felt strange to someone surrounded by constant hidden agendas. And Daniel began noticing the maid who never tried to impress him. One evening a violent storm rolled across the plains, shaking the mansion windows loudly. Lightning flashed across the sky like gunshots echoing over distant canyon walls. Daniel sat alone with whiskey, staring into firelight, while thunder rattled everything outside. Most servants hid in their quarters, waiting nervously for the storm to pass. But Maria calmly entered the room carrying warm soup and fresh bread. She placed the meal beside him without acting frightened by his powerful reputation. Daniel looked surprised because nobody usually interrupted his lonely nightly drinking ritual. Maria simply said storms feel less frightening when someone eats something warm. Those simple words held more care than years of expensive, meaningless conversations. And for the first time in years, Daniel felt someone actually noticed him. Days passed, yet Daniel couldn't forget that small moment of unexpected kindness. Nobody had spoken to him so honestly without asking favors or business deals. Maria continued working quietly, treating him politely but never seeking special attention. Her respect came from character, not money, which confused Daniel deeply. He began asking simple questions whenever their paths crossed in long hallways. Where did she grow up? What dreams once guided her difficult journey westward? Maria answered calmly, explaining life taught her respect matters more than riches. She believed people reveal their hearts through actions, not titles or wealth. Daniel listened carefully.